What's up, everybody? My name's Kyle. I enjoy getting outside, backpacking, hiking. I really enjoy backpacking gear. I have a problem buying backpacking gear, but I just kind of wanted to go over what I've got in my current setup, kind of show you guys. I started backpacking about 2 years ago. My first trip, I had a pack that probably weighed over 50 pounds, just stuffed with tons of different gear that I was never really going to use. I think the next couple trips after that, I still had about the same weight on my back. It made the hiking extremely uncomfortable, but still just being out there was just an experience. It was something that I craved. And then last summer, I started getting out on the PCT and doing some section hikes out there, and I was like uniquely attracted to these thru hikers that I would meet up there, and just what they were able to do, and just to kind of set their life aside for 4, 5, 6 months at a time and just go out there and solely hike every day, and that's something that I really wanted to do. Unfortunately, this year I have not been able to get my life set up, so that's a possibility. I have been able to make it possible that I'll be able to get out there for like a month and a half. This August, I plan on doing the Washington section of the PCT, starting at Cascadia Locks and heading up to the Canadian border. I'm super excited for that. I've pretty much been spending all winter, kind of getting my pack dialed in. I've been able to get out on a few shorter backpacking trips recently to kind of test out some of this new gear that's been coming in. This weekend, actually tomorrow morning, I will be leaving for just a 2-night trip. And it's supposed to rain, so it's going to give me a good opportunity to kind of test out a lot of the gear in the rain, and to kind of get accustomed to using that stuff. But yeah, I just kind of wanted to go through everything. I will include a list of my current gear in the description. So when I'm kind of going over things, I might, for example, I'll just, this is my first aid kit, whatever. But if you want to know like what's exactly in that first aid kit, you can always pull up that list that will be in the description. It's just a spreadsheet I made up. I haven't been able to get the lighter pack thing to work for me. A lot of people recommend it, and I know it seems like it should be awesome, but for some reason, it does not work for me. So yeah, I'll just kind of start going through the gear. I'll probably go in the order that it's stuffed in my pack. So I think the first piece of gear that I will start with will be my pack. I absolutely love this pack. I've had it a little over a year now. Probably put a couple 100 miles on it. It's the HMG Windrider 2400. I believe it's a 40-liter pack. It weighs just under 2 pounds. There's a couple extra things that I've added to it. I've added a little like shot cord piece right here, so if I have a piece of clothing that I need to dry out, I can just kind of cinch it up in that. I've got some of the Gossamer gear trekking pole attachments, so if I'm not needing to use my poles, I can just throw those in right there. I've also got the Gossamer gear shoulder pack pocket. I actually haven't used this on a trip yet, so tomorrow will be the first one. But I've always kind of had some type of a shoulder pocket right there, so yeah, I'm excited to use that. And then a necessity for me is I always have to have a snot rag, because I am constantly blowing snot rockets. It's kind of gross. I've got some messed up nasal passages, so that's a whole nother story. But I've constantly got this there, and then wiping stuff as needed. Usually I'll keep just a couple extra grocery bags right here, just in case I find some trash or it's raining and I got something outside of my pack that I kind of need to keep dry. Those are always good to have right there. So yeah, that's the pack. Oh yeah, inside the pack there is a clear liner in there, just for some extra waterproofness. The pack itself is waterproof, but it's always good to have that extra, security. You don't want things to get wet when you're out there. That can be very bad. So the next piece of gear that I've got here, and this will be the first thing that gets stuffed down in the pack. This is my quilt, and this thing is super lightweight and super comfy. I love this quilt so much. This is the Enlightened Equipment Revelation, and I scored this out of their warehouse, so I got it for a little bit cheaper than they normally are, and it was exactly the one that I was going to custom order, just so happened to be in there. Yeah, this thing's awesome. I love it. I've used it on a handful of trips already, and I don't think I'll ever go back to a sleeping bag after using this. So that's the quilt, and then I don't use a stuff sack or anything. I just stuff that straight into the bottom of the pack liner. And then there's also some straps for strapping that to my sleeping pad. That way stuff's not kind of rolling around all night. The next piece of gear is going to be a sleeping pad, and I actually will kind of wedge this up against the back in my backpack, kind of to make it a little bit more rigid right there, since I use it's a frameless pack, so this will kind of help distribute that pressure on my back right there. And this is the Nemo Tensor, the insulated version. I have loved this pad so far. I've really only used it a handful of times. It's kept me plenty warm. I had a Thermarest Neo Air X Lite before this. It had gotten a hole, and by the time I had sent it back to REI to get a refund and replace it, now they're out of stock. So I went ahead and went with this, and so far I've been happy. It's a little bit heavier than the Thermarest, but it works. So on top of the quilt, actually usually inside of the quilt, I will put whatever extra clothes I have. So I've got a pair of socks for sleeping, an extra pair of trail socks. That way I can swap them out and keep my feet somewhat dry while I'm hiking. I usually bring a pair of leggings. I don't really wear these all the time when I hike, but they are nice to have, especially at nighttime when it starts to get a little chilly. An extra pair of some compression boxers, and then also just an extra shirt for nighttime, just to kind of switch out. Or if my shirt is damp from hiking the day before, it's always good to have a nice dry shirt to put on it. So that's the extra clothes. Also mixed in with those clothes will be my puffy jacket, and this is actually brand new. I had to kind of scour the internet for this. Finally found it. Didn't want to drop the money on a Ghost Whisperer jacket, but I did find the Outdoor Research Baja down pullover. It's under 10 ounces. So far just wearing it around the house and outside here. It keeps me pretty warm. It fits nice and well. So yeah, I'm excited to give this a shot this weekend. In the pocket, I keep a pair of wool glove liners, just in case it starts to get a little chilly at night. It's always good to have those, or hiking during the day, especially first thing in the day. Having a pair of gloves is a good idea. Rather have them than not have them and need them. So, and this actually will be on the outside of my pack, but this is the Montbell Versalite. I have not used this in any heavy rain yet, so this will also be the first kind of trip to break this out on. I've used it in some light rain and nothing got through. The reviews make it sound really good. It was kind of spendy, but I think it's going to be worth it, especially for this summer. And yeah, that will actually be on the outside of the pack. That will not be inside, because I will be using it. And I think this too. So also inside of that pack liner will be my battery pack, a couple different cables for all the electronics that I'll have to keep charged, and then just a small Dyneema bag, super lightweight bag. And yeah, so that will all be inside of the pack liner that I've got in there. And then kind of moving outside of that pack liner, I've got my first aid kit, which is also in a small Dyneema bag. You can go through the list that I include in the description to kind of see exactly what's in there. I think there's a good assortment. I also have like a small repair kit with some patches for the sleeping pad, some like a sewing kit, just a lot of little odds and ends, you know. It makes me feel secure to have that stuff out there. And then I've also got, this will be on the outside of my backpack, but this is my poop kit, which is also in a smaller Dyneema bag. I believe this is a 7x8. That's got my trowel, some wipes, what else? We've got some hand soap in there, and then an extra quart-sized Ziploc bag just to put the used toilet paper in, because it's a good idea to pack that stuff out, as gross as it seems. Yeah. Oh, I forgot to add this too. This is the inflation sack for my sleeping pad. So that will also be kind of down in the pack by the sleeping pad. And moving up, we will go to, next we'll have my food sack, which this is all fully loaded right now. I always pack way too much food, but I do eat a lot. It doesn't look like it, but I eat like a fat kid. This food bag is made by the same person who actually made all the other Dyneema sacks that I have. He goes by Karu Gear. I hope I'm not pronouncing that wrong. I found him on Amazon and actually contacted him through his website after that, and asked him if he'd be willing to make me a custom food bag. And he was more than happy to do it. It was an awesome price for it, and since then, you know, I bought a handful of the smaller DCF bags to kind of put the rest of my gear in. And yeah, so far I'm happy with all the products I've got from him. Got this will also kind of go in my pack the same way that my sleeping pad does. This will just be higher up to kind of keep it a little more rigid. This is a cook cozy that I have made out of some of the Reflectix insulation. So when I boil my water and pour it in the cook bags that I have to cook my hydrated meals, I can just throw that bag in here. It helps hold the heat in. It helps cook them a little bit better. And then inside that, you know, I usually just toss my titanium spoon. It's a good idea to have one of those. You really reach down in there and get all the good stuff out. Usually packed next to my food bag is going to be my cook kit, and I've actually totally redone my cook system. This will be my first outing with it. I moved down to the Totes 650 milliliter pot from the 750 that I've been using, and then I also traded out my Pocket Rocket for one of the BRS stoves that I hear everybody talking about. It's a little bit lighter. It does feel a little bit flimsy, but most of the reviews I read are pretty solid. So inside this, you know, I've got my stove, a small fuel canister, mini big lighter, and then I also have just a small piece of a ShamWow towel, just to kind of use as like a cook rag. I can lay it out to like set things on and then kind of wash and dry things out when I'm done cooking. So I'm excited to use all this stuff. Another piece that will just kind of be stuffed in there or on the outside of my pack, just kind of depending how the weather is. This is a Mountain Laurel design closed cell foam pad, and I'll use this kind of throughout the day as a sit pad if I stop and want some a little cushiony to sit on, you know, just kind of fold it up. And then at night, once I get to camp, I use this to put underneath of my sleeping pad. It helps my sleeping pad from, you know, slipping around the tent floor, and then it also gives me a little bit of extra protection underneath that pad, just in case there's something, you know, sharp or pokey on the ground. It's not going to poke up through my tent floor and puncture my sleeping pad, because I have dealt with that one time before and it was not fun. So extra insurance is always good there. Yes, we'll have all that stuffed in the pack, and then the last thing that I stuff into the pack is going to be my tent, and this is the Drop Durston X-Med one-person tent. I have a kind of custom cut polycro footprint that I've made for it, and I've spent a couple nights in this tent so far. I really like it. I have not tested it in full-on rain yet. This will be the first trip where it's going to really be pouring, so I'm excited to see how it goes, and fingers crossed it holds up. I haven't heard anything bad about it online from people, so we'll see this weekend. And then I've got my stakes. These stakes are super important for using this tent because it is a trekking pole tent, so it requires tension to keep its shape. And in here I've got 4 of the regular, can't get these out of here. I got 4 of the regular sized MSR groundhog stakes. I've got 4 of the mini groundhog stakes, and then 2 shepherd's hooks. So just kind of depending on what the wind is like, kind of determines how many stakes I'm going to need to use. If it's pretty windy and I really need to keep things, hatched down, I will use all 10 stakes. But if the weather's kind of fair, not a lot of wind, I can get away using 6 of them. So it's always good to have these just in case the weather changes. So I think that's pretty much everything that will be on the inside of my pack. So now we'll kind of move to stuff that I will have on the outside. I use one of the Be-Free water filters. I have the 1 liter bag on here, and then I also have 2 life bottles. I use a 1 liter one, and then I think this is 700 milliliter. That's always been plenty of water for me to carry. If I need to, I can fill this up and carry with it too. This is an extra liter, and I haven't really ran into any situations yet where that hasn't been enough. So that'll usually be on one side pocket. I'll keep the Be-Free just in the larger outer mesh pocket. And then as I move into the side pockets on the backpack, I usually designate one to kind of be my snack pocket. And usually I'll start the day with, like two bars in there just for snacking on the way. I usually keep a thing of gum, and then whatever kind of a drink mixer or something that I want. I've been using these Liquid IV lemon ginger matcha tea mixes. I really like these, but they're expensive. And I'm actually going to test out some of those noon tablets that I see a lot of people talking about. So I got 2 of those to bring on this trip as well. So this will all kind of be stuffed into one side pocket. And then my other side pocket will usually have, I've got some chapstick, some toothpicks. I like to gnaw on these, while I'm hiking, just to kind of keep my mouth busy. And then I'll also stuff my headlamp in that same pocket. This is the Nightcore NU25, and yes, I'm one of those guys that put the shot cord on it just to cut a teeny little bit of weight out of it. It's an awesome headlamp. I love this headlamp. That same pocket, I will keep a comb. The beard's kind of starting to get a little length, so I like to keep it, somewhat groomed. And then I also have a mini Swiss Army knife that I keep in there. This thing's awesome. This is the only knife that I have ever needed while I'm out hiking. And then the last thing that will be in that other side pocket will be my travel wallet, which is kind of just a little plastic case, and I keep my ID, my debit card, and then a little bit of cash in there, kind of a just in case thing. And then the last couple things, I keep this in my outer mesh pocket on the back. This is my Garmin InReach Mini. I don't use this for any type of tracking my mileage or anything. This is strictly used for SOS if I need it, or when I get to camp, you know, to just kind of send a message to my mom and let her know that I made it to my destination safe. And usually I'll turn on the map share thing so that as I send her a message or whatever, she kind of can look on a map and see like exactly where it was that I am. It gives her peace of mind, and it's nice to have. It gives me peace of mind too. So it's a little bit spendy, but a good piece of gear to have. And then I also keep a small thing of the body glide out there, just in case I'll be needing any of that on my feet or any other areas of my body that start to shave. Because that's one of the most painful things that I think I've ever went through, and I don't ever want to have to experience that pain again. And then the last thing that I'll have in the pack, and this is my guilty pleasure. I don't smoke cigarettes anymore, but I do still vape nicotine, so I've always got a little vape kit with me, which just includes a small bottle of juice, an extra coil, and then I keep that all in a Ziploc bag with just a little piece of a napkin, just to kind of wipe things down. The juice is all greasy. And I think that is pretty much everything that's in the pack. On my wrist, I do have a Garmin Instinct watch, the GPS watch, and I do use this to track my mileage throughout the day. It's really nice too, because if I'm listening to music, I can also change the music on here, because this is linked up with my phone. And then if I get any type of notifications, if I'm like out on a day hike or anything, those will actually pop up on here too, so I don't have to go digging around trying to get my phone out. I love this watch. I've used it a lot, and it does exactly what I need it to do. And then usually I will bring just a small pair of wired headphones. Hold on. But for this trip, I will actually be bringing just a kind of cheap Amazon pair of wireless headphones. The cases make it a little bit heavier, but I figure since it's going to be kind of downpouring the whole time out there, these are waterproof, so they claim. So I just kind of give these a run. I wear them at work usually, so I know they're pretty rugged and can kind of withstand some harsh treatment. And I think that's pretty much everything that's in the pack. What I'll have on when I'm out there hiking, I found these like short little hats that I'm like super in love with, and they're 5-panel, and they're made of nylon, I believe, so they dry really quick. They fit my head nice and good, so usually I always have one of those. And then I've got just a normal kind of black running shirt. I've also got some Nike running shorts, another pair of compression boxers that I wear under that, and then this is my like ultimate favorite piece of hiking gear right here. This is my hoodie that I wear, and I found this probably about a year and a half ago. And the brand is -33. I believe this is called the Wolverino. It's a nice lightweight hoodie. I think it's a spandex and a wool blend. It dries super quick. It does actually provide me with a decent amount of warmth. If things get too crazy, I can always throw my rain jacket on top, or my puffy, kind of depending on what the weather's like. It fits me perfect. I love tops that kind of fit me a little longer. I've got a long torso, and this just fits me really well. It's been on a lot of hikes with me, and I'm hoping that it continues to last me. And if it does fall apart, I'm just going to buy another one because I love it that much. So I think that's about everything. For sunglasses, I actually just switched to a pair of glasses that are transition lenses, so I don't have to carry 2 pairs of glasses anymore. So far I'm super happy with the transition lenses. I didn't know how to feel about them, but they are growing on me. So yeah, that's pretty much everything that I got in my pack. This is my very first hiking YouTube video, so I hope you guys have enjoyed it. If you got any questions about any of the gear, Don't hesitate to ask. I will do my best to keep up to date and answer all the questions. And yeah, thanks for joining me, and get out there and enjoy some trails. Thank you.